When co-parenting with a narcissist is failing, do this instead. If you've stumbled across this video while trying to search for a way to successfully co-parent with a narcissist, or someone who's completely toxic, contentious, controlling, manipulative, and just plain mean, please stick around and watch this. I'm going to start out by breaking the honest news to you. You cannot co-parent with a narcissist. I repeat, you cannot co-parent with a narcissist. No matter how hard you try, no matter how flexible you try to be, no matter how firm you try to be, no matter what approach you take, you just can't co-parent effectively with a narcissist. It's going to ultimately fail. And the reason is simple. Co-parenting requires shared effort and shared intent. Think about the prefix of the word here. Co means in common, mutual, together, equal. Narcissists just don't have the same ideas and goals you have. Narcissists always put themselves first. They are only concerned with their own best interests. And they don't put anything before themselves, including the kids. Trying to co-parent with a narcissist is a lot like trying to row a boat with one oar. While you're paddling from one side, the other person is using their oar to fill the boat with water. You ever row a boat from only one side? You just end up going in circles, and eventually the other person will have the boat filled with water, and it's gonna sink. Breakups can be brutal on all of us, but co-parenting changes the whole game. Because when kids are involved, there's just no way around it. You are going to have to deal with this person at some level, right? And even people who appear nice and well-intended can turn into complete assholes. So when I'm talking about narcissist here, we all need to be clear and consider a few things. Is your ex a controlling person? Are they emotionally abusive? Do they make every situation difficult? Do they minimize serious issues, deny fault, and shift the blame onto you or others for everything? Does this person try to intimidate you or the kids and try to isolate them from you? If the answer is no, well, that's great. Your ex probably isn't narcissistic, and there is most likely a way to co-parent peacefully. But if you answered yes to a couple of these things, co-parenting isn't going to work because there is no co going on at all. In order to be classified as a narcissist, there's a list of 9 factors that come into play. And according to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, if someone meets 5 of the following criteria, they can be classified as a narcissist. Grandiose sense of self-importance, a preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love, belief they're special and unique and can only be understood by, or should associate with, other special or high-status people or institutions. The need for excessive admiration, the sense of entitlement, interpersonally exploitative behavior, lack of empathy, envy of others or a belief that others are envious of them, demonstrating arrogance and haughty behaviors or attitudes. If you're dealing with someone like this, the obvious decision would be to cut all ties and never look back. Unfortunately, that's not an option when kids are part of the equation. And kids are always better off in the long run when they have a relationship with both parents. So if you feel like your ex is demonstrating these qualities, the alternative to co-parenting is called parallel parenting. And that may be your only rational choice here. Parallel parenting isn't just about semantics. It's a complete change in philosophy. It's going to require you to consciously unlearn behaviors and rewire your brain. So here are 7 things you need to do for successful parallel parenting to work properly. Number 1, you should recognize the current cycle of events and make adjustments to even the playing field. Is there a pattern with how you communicate with your ex? How frequent is the unnecessary banter back and forth going on? And how reactive are you to it? What's making things worse? Do you have anxiety? If so, how often and what triggers it? What are you afraid of? And that's not a rhetorical question. Seriously, what are you afraid of? Failing as a parent? Losing your kids? How has your ex manipulated you into believing you must engage with them to protect yourself or your kids? And are those fears real? Are they logical? Scream it out, write it down, and then just reduce it to the facts. Where are you at today, and what must change moving forward? Number 2, set some new boundaries. Only communicate via email or through a parenting portal. Sites like Talking Parents are admissible in court and have read receipts, which prevent your ex from claiming that they never got the message. Block your ex on social media. Increase your privacy settings and stop texting them. Establish a set of rules for yourself. How often will you check the messages and how long will you wait to respond? And if you're giving in to triangulation, stop doing that right now. Be reasonable and tactful, but don't share these rules with your ex. This is you creating boundaries for you, not creating more ways for your ex to infiltrate your psyche. For example, let's say you decide to tell your ex that any calls after 8:30 p.m. will not be answered. So the ex intentionally starts calling at 8:31 p.m. If you answer that call, that one little inch you let them slide will turn into a mile. When you don't answer that call, you might get voicemails or emails saying how unreasonable you're being. But that's okay, because very few things will be important enough to break that rule. It better be a super serious issue for you to feel the need to call them back. Silently set your rules and communicate only when it's necessary. Don't give your ex an opening for engagement or manipulation. Number 3, if you don't have a court order, go file for one. Take the time to plan out what you want. If you go before a judge without a plan, you'll end up getting a standardized agreement, and those are for people who can co-parent, not for the two of you. Look at your state's typical parenting plan and then modify that so it's in the best interest of the children. When you first look at it, you may think it sounds fair, but that's because you intend on following it and are expecting your ex to follow it as well. Do not be jaded by false hope. Go over it line by line and consider how your ex might try to use stipulations to further their control. How will they communicate with the children when they're in your house? How are the children exchanged and where? What happens if you're running late or get sick or have car trouble? What information are you required to communicate, and what's the timeline to respond? What decisions, if any, can you reasonably be expected to make together? And remember, the order must be specific, with no room for any interpretation. Any gray area just gives your ex a license to be difficult and continue to manipulate things. Number 4, if you already have a court order in place, expect your ex to break it. And you can be happy about it, because I'm sure they're violating the order in several ways, and those things are documentable. Do not address anything with your ex, just sit back and take notes. After you've built up a case, take your ex back to court. Push for sanctions and fight for sole decision-making rights, or even full custody. You may need a moderator or some third party to facilitate the exchanges. In most cases, it's not appropriate for your ex to communicate with the children through you. Counseling, monitored visits, psychosocial evaluations, whatever it takes, Always put the needs of the kids first, but remember, kids really need to see their parents set and follow healthy boundaries. Number 5, your ex will try to compete with you. Do not engage. If you're still with me here, the name of the game is do not engage. If you don't remember anything else from this video, remember those 3 words. If you have the majority of the time sharing, you probably also have the burden of majority disciplining, majority chores, and majority schoolwork. The deck is stacked against you when it comes to being the fun parent. But that's okay. Let it go. Allow your kids to be excited to see your ex. Encourage and support them. Be happy for them, because that's what you ultimately want, isn't it? You want your kids to be happy. Children wish to believe that both their parents are great, and let them believe that for as long as they can. Don't question your kids about your ex, and don't expose them to bad truths about your ex either. And never badmouth your ex. When you do that, it only damages the kids, and they do not deserve to suffer like that. Consider how long you stayed with that person, and how long you held on to the idea of co-parenting. Learning you were wrong about a loved one is a hard truth to swallow, especially for a child. Comfort them when they're hurting, but don't dwell on it or drag it out. Allow them to recover. The road is long and they need all the help they can get, so always be there to support them in a positive way. Number 6, expect to be dragged through the mud. Oh yeah, be ready when they call in abuse reports, make false allegations, and spread rumors about you to everyone you both know. You're a bad person. You're selfish. You're insecure. Just realize this is all just a bunch of gaslighting. So stand firm in your truth. You don't have to defend yourself or explain your choices. Stop worrying about being the bad guy, and don't make any decisions out of fear. Just keep asking yourself, if my ex wasn't in the picture, what would be the best way to handle things for myself and for my kids? 9 times out of 10, that same decision is still going to be the right decision. Number 7, and last but not least, just live your life. You're a grown adult. You deserve to be happy, experience pleasure, and have a good time. And you're allowed to make mistakes along the way. You're allowed to have room for growth. And you don't have to be a perfect parent or a perfect person. Don't allow your ex to stick you into a box or change the version of who you once were. If you want to change, do it for you and nobody else. And don't go and try to fix your ex either, because that's a lost cause. They're never going to change. Instead, shift all the focus inward. Put your mental health first. Seek counseling if you need to, and practice true self-care. Take time for you and your kids. Surround yourself with positive people. Take the job. Make the move. Write the article. Nothing will upset your ex more than you living life on your own terms. So go and be the best person you can be, and do it with a big fat smile on your face, and to hell with what anyone else thinks. If you follow these ideas and have come to some sort of working relationship for the sake of your kids, there's still the issue of logistics with the ex. There are co-parenting apps out there that help. They cut out all the bullshit, all the texting, the emailing, staying on top of custody agreements, the kids' expenses. All communication can be relegated into in-app features, and all the contents and documentation may be admissible in court and custody disputes. And many of these apps don't offer an edit feature, so text can't be deleted or altered after the fact. This may come in handy if the relationship is contentious, and I highly suggest using an app like this just for your own protection. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope this video is going to help make things easier for you when dealing with your ex. And until next time, keep watching for the signs. Stay alert, be vigilant, be strong, be brave, and go live your best life today.